Welcome to What Do You Think of This? We are revisiting the best things from our past to let you know whether they're the best things for your future. I'm Jeff Abiad. With me is Josue Escobar.
Hey, folks.
You know what? It's November now.
It is.
Yeah, you could tell by the turning of the temperature.
Wait, is it the first?
I don't know what day it is, but I just know we're in November. No, because our last Chucky episode, the creepy one, released on Halloween. So It is now the 7th.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Crazy.
I was thinking about temperature actually, because last time you left, we were having a discussion after we finished recording, and you're like, oh, you were almost going to cancel your day plans because of how cold the weather was.
Yeah.
And then we realized it was just in my house.
It was just inside. It was beautiful outside.
I was like, I bet if you open the door, it's going to be really nice. And
we
it was
did go outside too.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
So much nicer. Yeah, it has been a little bit chilly. I've been wearing like a blanket and a couple extra hoodies around my house recently.
I thought it was supposed to freeze last night, like our first freeze of the winter or fall.
Yeah, I winterized my pipes because I know how to do that now.
Oh my gosh, I didn't do that yet.
Oh, I better get on it. Yeah, I'm an adult. That's the thing that I remember now.
Burst in the house and all sorts of chaos.
Yeah, we didn't have to do that in Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't a thing.
Must be nice.
It must be nice. The only problem is now I have to guard my house from all the creatures that want to crawl inside again.
Oh, true. It's the mousetraps things all over again.
Yeah. Anyway, we got an exciting episode out ahead. It's going to be kind of condensed because we're going through more this week. There's one short animated episode of Garfield that we were going to review last week, but you forgot.
I forgot about watching that.
So I feel like we ought to just go through it. So we're gonna tackle that this week, and then we're gonna talk about our movie of choice this week, which is the classic, quote unquote,
classic
E.T. And then after that, I have a special sneak peek for what's coming. I'm really excited to announce a couple weeks out ahead what's coming up on the pod. And I know you've got a quiz too, but have you guys been doing anything now that it's sort of like harvesty time, corn mazes, that sort of stuff?
Not yet, but what we have started doing is like raking the leaves and building like a big old pile outside in the yard and having the kids like jump into it, and so they love that. This is the season where this is happening now.
That's all my kids want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Arizona, we didn't have much of a fall season. You just kind of talked about fall, whatever. Now here, it's very much fall. And so we'll get out and do that stuff, maybe unintentionally, like the leaves, like you're saying. Like we just went for a walk and Justice was shuffling through the leaves along the street the whole way.
My kids love doing Ezra loves doing the leave angels. It's like, look, does it look like an angel in the leaves? I'm like, nope, it doesn't.
No, you'll smell really good. I actually really like the smell of decomposing.
Is that what you guys did in Arizona though?
What?
Just like cactus needle.
Gosh, could you imagine? No, get off the ground. There's scorpions.
Wow.
The month of November is nice, I feel like, though, because you passed like the Halloween season. We're coming into Thanksgiving. Yeah. I'm already getting hungry for like turkey and mashed potatoes. I like November.
I love Thanksgiving meal is my favorite meal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come to that.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Well, just at the end of this season, so baseball season just ended for Justice, and they had a parent-kid baseball game for the last practice that I've never been able to make because it's always on Thursday night. This year it was again, but I happened to be off that night, so I went and I played, and I'm like, I was really nervous about it. Do you play baseball ever?
No.
In your life ever? I know you're a soccer guy.
Yeah, I'm a soccer guy, but I mean, in high school, PE, we played everything. Dodgeball, which I know the kids today don't play dodgeball anymore.
No, they do.
Oh, really?
My kids like it.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
It's a thing.
Yeah, baseball it's got to be there. You're in the U.S. It's like a U.S. staple, right? So, and football. So,
yeah, I did Little League baseball enough to know kind of what I'm doing, but I don't really know anything about baseball. Like I'm a really low level fan. I can watch it and get into it.
Yeah.
And then we go to his games and like I said, I know how to cheer him on or whatever. But now it's like, oh, the dads are playing. And it was a whole group of, all of us are like, I don't know, I got a calf injury and my back and then my ankle, all of us like that. And now
you guys all swing once and just that's it.
Yeah. One of the guys, it was totally like that. It was like a cliche, but really in real life. And you know, I'm like all the advice that I've been giving my kid all season. Now I've got to do it. And I'm nervous.
What you preach.
Yeah. Thank God that they gave us like fake baseballs to play with, because one, they were concerned that the adults are going to be knocking these baseballs and hurting the children, but also they were a little foamy, so it gave you an excuse if you maybe couldn't hit it. But it ended with a real proud moment where I struck out my son.
Oh.
It wasn't, you know, it's like I was just proud I got the ball over the plate, you know.
Is it like the standard length?
Yeah,
from the mound.
From the mound. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So they let me stand a little bit in front of it, but they let each dad pitch to their kid, and each kid pitched to their dad.
Yeah.
So he did almost hit me with the baseball.
Did the kids were much better than the dads? Or?
Oh, by far.
Wow.
Well, we won the game.
Okay.
But there were more of us in the field. Like there was more than 9 of us out there. It wasn't just dads. It was siblings. So we had some like all ages out there.
Okay.
You know, it was kind of just for fun, and the kids had a really good time.
Older versus younger.
Not even older. There was some younger brothers too, and Ephraim played too, so he's older. But
that's cool.
You know.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
They got really amped up, and they played the best game of their entire season on the Saturday after.
You're going to say of their entire lives.
Maybe. I don't know. They had a really good game on Saturday, so that was fun. It was a good way to end the season.
Yeah.
So now we go into whatever next sport is.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think what I love is wearing layers.
Yeah.
It's like opportunity. I mean, I love just summertime and not having to worry about putting on a jacket, all that kind of stuff. And I don't really love the cold, but putting on layers and feeling cozy is pretty cool.
Which if people are watching on video, that's what's going on right now.
I just love feeling cozy.
Get that Foley. Well, okay, so to kick off today, because we're doing such a classic movie, you're bringing the quiz. We're hitting, what are we hitting for the quiz today?
Well, so we were talking about this before about just famous movie themes, musical themes, right? Because we all listen to movies or watch movies, and the music really either makes the movie or it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
It's like part of the movie. And we watched E.T. And John Williams is just classic.
Yeah. I mean,
iconic, you know? And at first I'm like, okay, let's just do movie themes, you know? But then it slowly just turned into all John Williams themes. He's so good.
That'll work.
I mean, I'll throw in a couple here that aren't John Williams.
Oh, okay.
See, and you should get those. But I'd be surprised if you don't get every single one of these.
Okay. Should I answer in real time or wait? Like give it a couple seconds so people at home.
Yeah, give it a couple seconds. Yeah. And then jump in. I'm just gonna go random here on my playlist called Movie Time.
Oh, this is your playlist?
Movie Time with John Williams.
Can we share this with the listeners?
Yeah.
If they want to listen, play at home.
This one's going to be good. It starts off pretty slow.
It's like, what is this, a THX logo?
Some people probably already know what it is.
Stop. Oh, okay. I'll let people guess. Okay. I feel water. I see water. Lady swimmer. This is Jaws. This is Jaws. Were there birds in the background? They almost sounded like seagulls. Yeah. I wouldn't, if you just jumped in right there, I might not have identified it, but that
beginning. Yep. Man, John Williams.
Also a movie I have not seen.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I wanted to start with that one, because you hadn't seen that one. All right, this one you're going to get.
I want to guess right now, but I'm going to let it go. Yep. Oh, totally. It's Indiana Jones.
Yes. All right.
He likes those horns, John Williams.
Does, but he also loves the like thump, da-da-dump, thump, da-da-da. Like there's like this underlying beat that happens also with most of his stuff. Here we go.
Oh, easy. Got it. My favorite. Oh, let it build. Superman.
It's so great, isn't it?
It's just so good.
Oh.
Oh, really good. Really good.
Incredible. It really does bring something out.
When you think that one man did all this,
I mean, there's if anybody, you take the time to look at all his things.
Yeah,
it's I want to say 1,000 different pieces of music in just movie stuff.
I don't. For better or for worse, when I listen to some of his stuff, or I'll be like singing, like humming a theme or whistling it, and then it'll go into another one.
Mm-hmm.
Like for some reason, for me, Superman will tie into Star Wars a little bit. Like some of them sound a little bit similar.
Oh yeah.
But he knows what he's doing, and he leverages that very well.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Star Wars.
No wheels on a speeder, buddy. Is this one of the newer ones? It's definitely a newer one. I don't. Okay, well, I've just got to guess, so I guess I'm going to guess episode 7.
Yep. March of the Resistance.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yep.
It sounded like one of those ones.
All right, let's another throwback.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is the Imperial March.
Darth Vader. Imperial March.
Doesn't appear until episode 5. I know this.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So here's one maybe you might not get right off the bat.
Okay.
Let's see. Great movie.
Oh, was this like an athletic movie?
You can see my face right now. I'm nodding my head no.
Nodding no.
Or yeah.
Oh.
I don't know how much of this we can actually play.
Probably going to get pulled from YouTube right now.
Hopefully not.
I don't think I know this one.
It's such a great movie.
Okay, but it's not sports related.
No.
Is it a war movie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, you're probably gonna have to kill the audio. And it's John Williams. Okay, give me a decade. Is this? It's not Saving Private Ryan, is it? Oh wow. Okay. Oh yeah. I guess I can hear it now. Yeah. See, I haven't seen that one in a long time.
That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really good.
That was good. All right. So something that is not John Williams.
Okay.
You should get this pretty quick.
I mean, Eye of the Tiger. Is this a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Rocky?
Yep.
Oh, remember, I haven't seen Rocky.
Yeah. Doesn't that make you just want to punch somebody?
It really just makes me afraid that we're going to get this pulled.
I know. This is always the...
Every time I'm like...
the risk with music. That brings us to the final one I think we should listen to.
Okay. Oh. Yeah. Come on, folks.
If you haven't watched this movie, please watch it.
Oh, yeah. Takes me back.
Yep.
Really good. E.T., folks. We're talking about E.T. today.
E.T. Phone Home.
E.T. Phone Home. Yeah, but not yet.
Not yet.
That's right. We should have thought better about the flow of this episode because that would have been a really nice transition into E.T.
Yeah, we could always make it happen.
So I convinced you to watch Garfield Halloween special with your children.
The kids loved it.
This is one that I've seen so many times over the course of however many years. Keep showing it to my kids.
Yeah.
So when
this was the first time I'd seen it and the first time the kids had seen it.
Did you ever see the Garfield animated series?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you were familiar. Have they ever seen anything Garfield? Because there's newer stuff.
I mean, they knew it was Garfield. They knew his name.
Yeah.
They didn't know Odie. They didn't know what's the...
John.
And I to be honest too, I also thought, wasn't Bill Murray the original voice of Garfield?
He wasn't later on, but later on he was. But this voice sounds like him in a lot of places. It really does.
I wonder. So obviously this guy was first, and then I guess they replaced him, or did he die? Well, I don't know what happened, but Bill Murray sounds just like this dude.
It's very similar.
He did a really good job.
Really similar character.
Yeah.
So for the listener, explain who Garfield is.
Garfield is a cat a lazy fat cat who loves lasagna, loves eating.
Yeah.
And he's a smart aleck.
He is.
Yep.
Which is really funny because if you're paying attention, which I don't know how long it took me to catch on from childhood, like he never moves his mouth.
That's right. Yeah. The kids pointed that out right away.
Mine too.
Yep.
But I loved in episodes like this where he goes and he's talking to John and having a whole conversation, and it seems like a back and forth, but if you think about it, you realize, oh, John can't hear a thing he's saying.
Yeah, it's all in his. That's what I told the kids. Oh no, he's just saying all this stuff in his head.
Yeah.
They're like, but how does the man know what he's saying?
Right.
I'm like, well, how do you know what a cat is saying? Cats are pretty much really emotive that way.
Yeah, he's just talking to his cat.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Odie can understand him.
I guess. Really? I mean, his mouth doesn't move when he's talking to Odie.
I know, but with the whole thing when he's telling him about getting candy.
Oh, that's right.
And trick-or-treating and all that stuff.
He gets excited.
Maybe it's possible he doesn't. Maybe I need to rewatch it and consider maybe Odie can't hear him either.
I don't know. Do you want candy boy? You want candy boy?
Yeah, exactly.
Teasing him. Poor Odie.
Oh, yeah, he goes through a lot. But there's that moment in this where he's like, don't tell him, but sometimes I love that guy. There's a really good heart behind all this. Yeah. So yeah, when I was growing up, and you too, there were Saturday morning cartoons that included Garfield and Friends.
Yeah.
And so you would get a new Garfield cartoon.
It's almost like Peanuts, right? It's like what's his name?
Charlie Brown?
Charlie Brown, yep.
That like in the same way that it was a comic strip, but also animated. But Peanuts didn't put out a regular animated show.
I don't know. What did they?
Just specials, as far as I know. Besides what's on Apple now or Snoopy stuff, maybe there is.
Yeah.
But this is
all over your watch now, Apple.
That's right. This came out of the mind of Jim Davis, who is a cartoonist and obviously now screenwriter and producer. But he created the comic strip Garfield and U.S. Acres, which published in 1978. U.S. Acres is the one that had like all the friends, the little pig, the farm, all the farm guys. I don't know if you remember that from the animated series. They're not in this.
Okay.
But he wrote all the specials for TV. So he also wrote this. And you can feel, I feel like the continuity between the TV episodes and this, it feels the same.
That's cool.
Pretty much. But I do remember watching this Saturday mornings. I also have a special tie to Odie because I used to draw him. So there were a couple things that I feel like I can draw that I learned how.
Was he your favorite?
Not necessarily, but I just knew how to draw it.
Yeah.
I could still draw it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like me, and I can draw The Simpsons pretty easily.
Can you draw them doing various things?
No, I can draw their heads pretty well.
I can draw Odie in one very specific position.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's it.
That's the way you learned it.
Yeah, and I think I signed it on people's yearbooks. I mean, I was drawing Odie everywhere.
What?
Yeah, it was like my thing for a long time.
Did people call you Odie?
No, maybe they should. And now there's an animated movie coming out that's going to be starring Chris Pratt in the voice of
Garfield.
Garfield.
Right. Yeah. Very meta.
I don't know, but yeah, Bill Murray did it in I think 2 live action versions of Garfield or live action hybrids.
Okay.
Weird or whatever.
Yeah. No, this movie was really cool. You know, so it's like he wakes up. It's Halloween.
Yeah, or he finds out it's going to be.
It's going to be Halloween. Yeah, and he's excited about getting candy because he's a glutton.
Candy.
And he knows he's fat. Yeah. He's a fat cat.
He just leans into it.
And I like when John.
I may be lazy. I may be fat. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good music in this episode.
Yeah. I love it when he goes to John and he's, I guess, telepathically telling him he's gonna go trick-or-treating. And he's like, well, I got breakfast for you. And he's like, no, I'm okay. I'm going to fill myself with candy. And he's like, yeah, but maybe I'll have a croissant.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll have what was the other thing? Some bacon. You know what? Let me just take the whole tray. Yeah. I think I've done that a few times in my life.
Did your kids like all the little jokes in there? Because I feel like there's a lot of one-offs.
Oh yeah, they did. I think they got it too. I think Ezra really enjoyed the one-offs. He kept repeating them.
Yeah,
he does that.
My kids really loved the insult stand-up routine where he's like, "Oh, he's so dumb," that he couldn't get any stupider unless you had 2 of them. I thought it was really funny.
So dope. So good.
So yeah, Garfield finds out it's Halloween and he can get candy. So he decides he's going to dress up and do this, and then he gets Odie to do it with him.
Mm-hmm. So he can get twice the amount of candy.
Yeah,
because he's like, I'm going to give you 1 piece. That's your reward to come help me get candy. Is I'll give you 1 piece of candy.
Yeah. And so they go through John's closet, the attic. He's like, oh yeah, let's go look in the attic for costumes. John never throws anything away.
Yeah, I guess not.
And then they found all kinds of costumes.
And what is he putting these on himself?
You mean John?
Yeah.
No, I think he's a hoarder.
So they just find things.
Who knows? You don't really get a lot about the character of John. Definitely not in this.
No, he's insulted all the time by Garfield too.
But you get the first song when they're doing that what could I be? Diddle-it.
Yeah.
And I think the music in this is so great. It's all really catchy and well written, and the gags are funny.
Yeah,
like he's dressing up, and the animation is very classic. What I consider classic when you think of 1980s,
all pencil. You could see very very Charlie Brown-esque.
Yeah,
in the animation for sure.
And so he takes Odie out. And they go trick-or-treating, and he's teaching him how to trick-or-treat, which is funny.
Yeah.
And he's trying to tell Odie not to be afraid of all these other masks, because originally Odie's afraid, and he pulls a mask off. He's like, it's just a kid.
Yeah, the first one was just a kid.
Yeah. And then they go through that whole song. Yeah. One thing I'm not is a scaredy cat. And then they pull the mask off, and like, the guy looks exactly the same under the mask, or he's got hairy legs, or this ghost actually has no feet.
Yeah, it's actually a ghost.
So this was good in the Abiad household because it was spooky, Halloween-esque, but it wasn't actually a horror movie.
Yeah.
So it was allowed.
Yeah, it wasn't like Chucky.
No. Which I still can't believe my dad watched that movie.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, no, the kids really loved it. And it was a really short, little, enjoyable precursor to Halloween.
Yeah, because the turn of events is it actually does get spooky.
Mm-hmm.
They decide he wants more candy. If we take this boat we just found across the river,
there's a house over there,
and they lose control of the boat. They wash up on shore of this old spooky house. They find this old man in there who was legitimately scary for the kids.
Did you notice when he's talking, like spit builds up on the side of his mouth and he like wipes it off? That was like a little detail that I don't know if the kids saw that, but I'm like, ugh, that's so gross.
I know. And I know as a kid from rewatching it, that scene where they're like hiding and then all of a sudden, I guess this is maybe the ghosts later on. There are ghosts in this.
Yeah.
But the face of the old man, when you first see him and they're by the fire and they turn around and he's sitting there and like, the music.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah, a little jumpy. Good job. And then he tells this whole ghost story about these pirates that are coming back from 100 years ago.
He's like, I was 10 years old. I'm like, this dude's 110?
110. And he's sitting there. Yeah. And then he takes off in their boat.
Yeah.
Garfield's like so disappointed after all that work with all of his candy. And then the ghost pirates come and they have to hide.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the spooky Halloween element.
And they did a really good job with the ghosts, the way the ghosts looked. It was really cool.
It was really great.
Good animation, good storytelling. Like I said, it was a really good like kickoff to the Halloween, I guess, season or the Halloween night, you know?
Yeah. My favorite quote from the movie probably is near the end where he's so distraught because they escape the pirates. Spoiler.
Yep.
And they find their way back. But before they find the boat, he's like, my boat's gone. My candy's gone. Dead pirates are coming at any minute. It's past my bedtime. I want to go home.
It's past my bedtime.
Before the pirates come,
He's so funny, man.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little lines like that were all really great.
And a lot of it's really cool that they like kind of cater to the adults in the room,
Yeah, that's what I thought because so to get to the end of it, when we finished it, I feel like I appreciated it probably the most because my parents were still in town. They fell asleep, or at least my mom did.
Yeah.
My kids were like half interested, not quite, like they were laughing, but they knew it. And I'm like, I like the little lines here and there. I appreciate a well-placed joke that comes under the radar, which I think Garfield is really good at. But when this finished playing, YouTube, because this is on YouTube, just spun me into a next suggested thing, which was spooky Looney Tunes episodes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And everybody, zing, was like back in. My mom woke up, everybody was like much more engaged to Bugs Bunny and Gossamer or whatever the witches.
Hilarious.
I don't really know why. So
yeah, we watched it on TV, not on YouTube, on Plex, but so we didn't get any suggestions after the fact.
Yeah, so we'll throw the link for this in the description, and maybe I'll throw that little Looney Tunes one as just a special thing if you guys want something scary to watch that's not actually scary but fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Those classic ones are great. So what do you think about it? Do you think it holds up?
Yeah, I think it holds up. It's funny. I think just like Charlie Brown, people watch the Charlie Brown Christmas special or the things. I think this holds up. It was one of those that I didn't know of, and I think it'd be a cool thing to do next year again.
Yeah. I kind of feel for my kids because I really do pull these things out every year because I'm like, oh, it's the season. Let's watch this or that.
Yeah.
And this one, comes up. Once I found that it was actually on YouTube, I'm like, oh, let's watch this.
That's cool.
I think they're kind of done with it.
They're done.
It's mostly for me now.
Just put it on in the background while you guys are doing some other activity.
Yeah, carving a pumpkin, not eating its innards.
Yeah,
not Garfield.
Garfield.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm going to say it holds up too. I'm going to say I think people should at least watch it once. If they haven't seen
I think it holds up. It's funny. It's a smart funny.
Yeah.
I like it.
And what's the name of the creepy clown? Speaking of.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. He reminded me a lot of the clown in
I was going to say The Simpsons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Binky?
Krusty the Clown. Binky.
Like,
no, I think.
Yeah, it's really like
it might be Binky.
I hate you, Binky.
Yeah.
Kids, you better get up or you'll be worthless.
That's right. Oh man, you can say that now.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Well, let's talk about the actual movie we're here to talk about today, but I guess we should hit the intro first.
Let's do it.
E.T. is a movie about an alien that crashes on Earth, and a kid named Elliott sees him and he tries to save him, but everybody else keeps trying to kill him. And at the end, he almost dies, but he lives. E.T. phone home.
Da 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 da. We won't get pulled for that, right? I should say, obviously, we have all these topics we've been doing. So if people have a suggestion of topics they want us to cover that we haven't yet,
yes,
we've
please.
got a ton more episodes planned, and we would love your suggestions. So send those to ideas@wdyt.show.
Awesome.
But let's talk about E.T. E.T. came out in 1982.
E.T. stands for Ed Turner, right?
My kids, one of them was asking me, I think Clark, because he was like, does ET stand for something?
That's what my kids asked too.
Extra-Terrestrial. And I said it so confidently that he's like, are you making that up? I'm like, no. And even if I was, I've learned it from this movie because I feel like that's probably the first time I ever heard Extra-Terrestrial.
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is considered probably a classic from a lot of people. Steven Spielberg, 1982. I mean, I'm sure I didn't see it in theaters, but I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, me too. When I was dating Elizabeth, we went to Universal Studios when I went and met her family. Mm-hmm. And it was I forget what anniversary it was, but it was the anniversary of E.T. And I think it was
on a decade. It must have been 2012 then.
It must have been, yeah. It was like I forget how many years in 2012.
30 years?
30 years?
Yeah.
30 something. Man. And they made a deal about it. Not a huge deal about it, but it was like the posters, the theme song was going through the park.
Yeah. Do they have the E.T. ride there?
I don't know if there was. I don't think there is an E.T.
So when I lived in Arizona, we used to go to Universal in California, and they had the E.T. ride.
Yeah.
And you would get in line, and you would sit on a bicycle.
Yeah.
But it was a bicycle with like 9 people on it, and E.T. in a basket in the front.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you gotta see that one on video.
Yeah.
I have a little E.T. Funko Pop in the office.
It's so cool.
So he's in the cart, and then you go through the movie. So you start off, the bikes are all moving, and then there's cars that are like pulling out, and then you're seeing like little glimpses like you would at Universal. You're hearing the music, and then eventually like E.T.'s in the thing, and he's motorized, so he starts moving around, and you can hear him, and then you fly over the city at the end.
So cool.
Yeah, and it was like a big thing. But now the ride wouldn't be that thrilling, but it was like it'd be more like Pirates of the Caribbean or something. Like, you got to go on the E.T. ride. It's classic, but it was just kind of fun.
Yeah, that's nostalgia for real.
I read
brings back a lot
that it was produced by Steven Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, really?
I didn't know she had been around in this, for that long.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because isn't she married to somebody?
I'm sure she's married to somebody.
Well, obviously, gosh,
maybe not.
I mean, like some type of nepotism type thing where she's got herself involved somehow.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's crazy the evolution that lady has taken with producing stuff from
E.T.
to
Star Wars
the garbage now that they're making.
But you also hear in E.T. had John Williams involved, like we talk about. Yep. And you had Reese's Pieces, which was a big tie for me as a kid. Because we were talking about this earlier, and I'm like, oh no, it was definitely Reese's Pieces in the movie because I loved Reese's Pieces. Yeah. Like if I was picking my favorite candy.
So did I miss it? Was there a part in the movie where it shows you that they're Reese's Pieces?
I think you just know by the color.
Oh, okay.
That they're Reese's. I'm trying to remember if there was a specific spot because you saw the bag. Like Elliott had the bag in his hand. Elliott is a kid. But
I'm gonna miss that because we all thought they were M&Ms, like the peanut M&Ms.
So I read that the filmmakers wanted to use M&Ms, but the Mars company denied their request. Wow. They were afraid that E.T. was so ugly that he would frighten kids.
Wow. So I think he did a little bit.
Maybe, but what I read is because Reese's were used, and as a direct result, the Reese's Pieces sales skyrocketed.
And M&Ms were like, darn it.
Yeah, not that M&Ms are doing bad, but
yeah, true.
Yeah, those Reese's Pieces
but to be tied to a movie like this for the rest of time.
I know. I still think about it. I don't know if my kids will, but
yeah.
They were not even as big of a part as I remembered them being. I don't even know what E.T. was doing because I didn't know if he was eating them. At first, he comes back and gives Elliott the Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, he's like,
back.
I don't like peanuts. I have a peanut allergy.
Are we just playing like fetch with Reese's Pieces?
Yeah, because he lures him into his room with him too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, quick recap. So Elliott is this young boy who encounters an alien. The end. It opens up when you get these alien creatures, these ET, whatever race they are, that are like looking for plants.
They're studying our planet.
Yeah.
Right?
And you can tell they've collected plants from other planets on their spaceship.
Yeah, they had some like really glowy, translucent looking mushrooms on their ship. Yeah. You know that I don't remember this part as like watching this before.
The spaceship?
Yeah.
Me either. Well, I know now, but I was going to say, as a kid, I that didn't stick with me at all.
No, yeah, it didn't. I was like, wait, we get to see inside their ship? I didn't think we ever got inside their ship. And yeah.
Unless it's added afterwards, like maybe this was a deleted scene or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's funny because I was going to say I didn't remember that either.
Yeah, but it was cool. I kind of got a little more context of like why they were on the planet in the beginning.
That's what I felt watching back at this too, is that it was a different experience as an adult. I remember experiencing it as a kid, but I know so much more about what was going on, like the backstory now, that I didn't care about as a kid.
Yeah.
As a kid, you care that like, oh, this is a cool alien. It's a little spooky at first.
Yeah.
We lost Clark on this one.
Oh, really?
The credits didn't even roll. We went to play it and he screamed and left the room.
He pulled a me for Child's Play.
Yeah. I was like, he is not having it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it did kind of like, it's a bit suspenseful at the beginning. You don't know what's going on. But then once you meet E.T., it was like Fester, Yeah. It's like, oh, it's cute. He's funny. Whatever. You kind of endearing.
Yeah, Ella was a little bit like that too. It was like, I don't know. And she's like cuddle up with Eva. And she's like, it's okay. He's a nice alien or whatever. Even before he finds Elliott or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, so these aliens are on the planet. They're exploring our foliage. That's how you want to say it. In California.
Yeah, Redwood Forest.
The Redwood Forest. To the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for E.T. And I don't know why, but there are, I guess, police officers. There's like people.
They're not even. They're led by this guy who you never actually see until near the end of the movie, who's got the keys on his belt.
Keys man is what my kids started calling him. Yeah, the guy with the keys.
That's his name in the keys man. The credits. Keys.
Yeah, cool. Throwing this back to Steven Spielberg, and I know we mentioned this when we watched Jurassic Park, where he just teases. He doesn't let you see something until way later on. He builds up and builds up and builds. So he does that with the key guy, builds him up a lot. And he does it a lot with E.T. You see his silhouette, you see his hands.
Yeah.
He builds and builds and builds, which is really cool about, that movie style, that storytelling style.
The other thing that I don't know if I would have noticed had I not read it or watched it now as an adult is most of the movie is filmed from a kid's perspective. Cameras are real low. You don't see any adults' faces until near the end of the movie.
I mean, that's why you only see the keys, because the camera is right at his like waist level.
Exactly. So it really does put you in that experience. Even when those cars first come in and E.T.'s like, he's away from the ship, he's scared.
It's almost his level too.
Yeah. His level too, exactly. And I think that's why E.T. and Elliott kind of have this bond, because they're literally at the same level. And so
he's shorter than Elliott until he like stretches
his neck. Yeah. So E.T. gets stranded on this planet.
Yeah, because like everyone gets spooked by these people. We don't know why he's being led to that place. Maybe they saw the ship land or something. I don't know.
You could tell and you get the story later on that they're basically people that are into aliens on some level, but I don't know if it's a government agency or what it is.
They look like regular police cars to me, like unmarked police cars, but
It was the 80s.
It was the 80s. And So the rest of the aliens are freaked out. They run, but then he gets I guess he wandered off a little further than the rest of them. And he gets kind of trapped on Earth when they escape.
Yeah.
And he makes it towards the city lights, right? Like the town lights down below.
Yeah.
And he finds his way into Elliott's family's shed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is the first we meet of Elliott's family.
And his friends or his brother's friends.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of a poker night was going on. We kept trying to figure out what they were doing at the table. These kids are all young.
Yep.
Somebody was smoking.
Somebody was smoking a cigarette. I'm like, why is it smoky?
And
there's a cigarette right there.
Yeah. He's got the friends over. They're playing some sort of game. Elliott wants to play. The mom is really aloof. And this is a storyline I didn't get as a kid, that she was just recently, her husband left her.
Yeah.
Which is very on the surface. But as a kid, I don't even know that I ever thought about it.
Yeah.
So she's not really around. She's just kind of in the background, and they order a pizza, and that's how he kind of encounters E.T. He goes out to pick it up, and then he finds him in the shed.
In the shed, yeah. He sees something in the shed. He throws a tennis ball.
I don't know.
Throws
a baseball.
He throws a baseball.
E.T. rolls it back.
Speaking of baseball.
Yeah.
He throws a baseball into the shed and throws it back at him. So does he see E.T.? At this point, does that character seen him?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But who knows?
He throws it back at him. He drops that pizza so fast and runs back into the house, and he tells everybody there's something in the shed.
Including the mom who's now there, and then the boys just grab some kitchen knives.
Yeah, put the knives back down.
I'm getting my Cutco knife sharpened today, actually, by the way, after we record this. Yeah, so I'll let you know how that goes.
Nice.
So yeah.
I thought they were already sharp.
Yeah, they are already sharp. Remember? Yeah. Yeah, and then they're like, nobody believes Elliott, of course.
Yeah.
And the whole thing.
There goes again, adults not believing kids.
Yeah.
Even other kids not believing kids.
For, again, legitimate reasons in the real world, but when you're in E.T. and Elliott's world.
Oh, man.
So Elliott decides to stay home from school.
Yeah, he fakes being sick.
Yeah. At what point do you get
I don't think that works anymore with LED bulbs.
I was going to say that. Yeah. My kid's like, what's he doing? And at first I was like, maybe I shouldn't give them this hack. But then also, it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
With and also our thermometer now is like a scannable head thermometer.
Exactly. We hold the power. We're not going to just leave you with a thermometer and have you manipulate it.
This old glass thermometer, by the way, that she's probably putting in the mouths of all of her children, after she just wipes it off.
Yeah, probably.
Gross.
Yeah. the way that things were back in the day.
So he stays in his bed, and then as soon as they take off, oh no, is this after or before he had lured them? Because he went out.
Yeah.
So he went out that night to try and lure E.T. That's when the Reese's Pieces. That happened really fast.
It does really happen really fast. And then at the same time, the adults, right, the agents or whatever, they're trying to find E.T.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, he went into this town. Logically, so we have to kind of figure out how to find, which plays off later.
They're tracking him somehow. Neither I nor my kids knew, because they asked me, and I'm like, I don't actually know. They're scanning houses with some sort of high-powered microphone later on.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
Well, I think because ET was really close to that like ledge or cliff or whatever you want to call it, that overlook of the town, and I think logically, they thought, oh, if we see prints or something here, like that way, because he didn't come past us.
Right.
It must have been that way.
Maybe.
Down. That's how I kind of like just give the benefit of the doubt that that's what happened.
Yeah, they're smart people.
But yeah, like you said, Elliott finds a way to lure him into the house with candy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a theme here on this podcast with candy.
Candy.
Yeah. And he's kind of a fat alien, right?
Is he?
I mean, remember when Gertie says, what is he? Is he a pig? He's a pig. He sure eats like one.
Well, he's just eating a lot, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so he lures him in, and he makes a bond with E.T.
Yeah.
Right?
Which I still don't get. Like, I get that it's happening, but I don't really understand what happened.
Yeah. I don't understand how he has a bond with this alien. I mean, we find out though, a little bit later on, that he can kind of manipulate his surroundings a little bit. He brings that flower to life.
Yeah, the potted plant.
To life. And once Elliott kind of is comfortable, at first, he's really comfortable, so that, you went ahead and talked about how he tricked his mom into thinking he was sick so he could stay home from school.
Yeah, mom, she must be really going through some stuff, because she is just like, okay, you stay home, because she has to go to work.
Yeah, so she leaves an adolescent at home.
Uh-huh.
And he messes around. He gets to know E.T. a little bit more or whatever. And he decides to tell his big brother when he comes home.
Yeah.
That was the first thing he did was like, hey, what was the brother's name?
Michael,
you got to promise not to freak out. You got to promise me that I have all the power or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He shows him E.T. He can't believe it. And then the little sister comes in, Gertie.
Yeah, who's played by Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, she's so young in this. It's so crazy. She's like 50 now, 50
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And she's like yells.
Yeah.
And makes E.T. yell too, which is E.T.'s voice and stuff is really weird.
Yeah.
However they made that sound is crazy.
It was done by a couple different people, but I heard the primary person who did the voice work for E.T. was a woman who had been smoking for like 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So they hide E.T. from their mom.
Yeah.
And they're all about, okay, this creature, what in the world is this thing at first? And then they finally find out, like, we're from here. This is the Michael's like, here, use this instead, the globe.
Yeah.
And we're here, And he's like, where's your home? Whatever. And he kind of like picks it up, like what they're trying to say. And he's like, he just points outside.
The window. Home.
Like, and they're like, oh man, he's an alien.
He probably couldn't even talk at that point yet, but it develops a little bit later.
Yeah.
So in this case then, is E.T. looking at this globe going, I remember the view of this when we were pulling in to get some plants?
I'm guessing.
Because he's pretty smart. I mean, you find out later on.
Yeah. He makes a whole makeshift satellite radio.
Out of a speak and spell.
XM.
Did you have a speak and spell?
No, I didn't.
The word is chicken, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think we had one of those.
I think we might have had a version of that, but no, we didn't have one that exact same one.
I meant to ask my kids what they thought about looking at movies in the 80s, because I remember growing up in the 80s, and so I remember life feeling like this. But for them, it might as well be the 1920s. It's a whole different thing. Nobody has a cell phone.
Yeah.
One thing that is probably similar, that school bus was insane. When the kid gets on the bus.
Oh my God. That's so wild.
You got to pay those bus drivers a lot of money to stick to that job because, man, it's a bit nuts.
I mean, it wasn't like that when I was in school. It wasn't that crazy.
On the bus?
Buses, yeah.
Yeah, this is dialed up for sure.
Yeah.
But their whole life and their neighborhood and all of it is insane, but it couldn't have existed now.
Yeah.
When we have phones and technology the way that we do, kids might not even care.
Yeah.
They might not even think this looked like a real alien. It might look a little bit puppety or animatronic.
Which it is.
Very much so.
But really, really crazy how they made his skin look wet.
Yeah.
The glistening hand and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better or worse than the Jabberwocky from Alice in Wonderland?
Better.
Well, certainly the end quality was better, but maybe just as wet. But I liked looking at the old toys, the old technology. When Elliott goes back to school and you get them dissecting frogs, and the cruelty of we're just going to drop a cotton ball of formaldehyde in each little thing.
Chloroform to make them go to sleep.
He's like, you don't have to watch if you don't want to, but if you do, you can. The teacher who you don't see, waist up at all.
Exactly.
And they're just killing these frogs.
Very Charlie Brown-esque. No one's paying attention to him.
Except for the murder of all the frogs.
Exactly.
They won't feel a thing. I'm like, what is happening? That's so like. Did you ever dissect frogs?
No, we actually dissected goat eyes. Eyeballs.
Yuck.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. In what grade?
Freshman year of high school.
Okay, I think 7th grade year we dissected frogs.
Me and a couple of friends of mine, we didn't actually dissect the goat eyes. We put them in our pockets.
That's disgusting.
And then when we were at lunch, we snuck them into people's spaghettis.
That's amazing. That's so terrible.
Yep. I specifically remember doing that. Of putting a couple eyeballs in someone's spaghetti at our table. And we threw them in the hallway too. Like we threw the eyeballs.
After the spaghetti? You're like, let me recollect it?
Like we had like 4 or 5 eyeballs and we threw like 3 of them in the hallways. People were like, that's so gross.
I can't believe that.
And then at lunch, we had like 2 more and we stuck them in some kid's like spaghetti and just waited for him to eat. And he was like, what is this in my... and like he was so mad.
That poor kid. That's really terrible.
And there is formaldehyde on it and with chemicals. So he took a couple bites of his spaghetti before he found it.
Oh no!
I wonder if I don't remember if it made him sick or not. But
he died 5 years ago. But But you know what? When he went, his vision still 100%.
You know, I think this also led to the food fight we had at the school.
The eyeballs?
I think it did.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember we had a food fight in high school, and it was epic. I actually hid myself between two vending machines in the lunchroom because it was wild. You know how when you see like a flock of birds, like
yeah.
That's what it looked like. It was just food going into one area of the lunchroom, and then whoosh, another set of foods being thrown the other way. It was wild. There was a lot of condiment packets, open food, sandwiches.
Did you guys all get detention or something?
They tried to, but they can't. What are you going to do? Give
They
detention to the entire class?
They would have done it at my school.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't think we ever had a full-blown food fight. The table of guys that I sat at, you know how like your freshman year, you come in, wherever you sit kind of becomes who you sit with.
Yeah.
You know? And for that year, I knew one guy at the table and then sat with a bunch of other guys who I normally wouldn't have hung out with. But I was very glad because they were those guys. Our table was like the export terminal in the cafeteria, just flinging grapes off of spoons and whenever the teacher turned around.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me. I was too afraid to misbehave and didn't really want to.
Yeah.
And so I was just always like concerned about, but I had the protection around me. Every once in a while, I remember coming back to my table once and I had a soda, like, a Coke, but in an open cup, and it was bubbling. I'm like, what's going on? They had poured a bunch of pretzel salt into my soda,
no.
but that was the worst I got, and I didn't even drink it. I was just watching it happen to other people going like, dear Lord, let it not be me.
So yes, anyway, dissecting eyeballs into doing frogs. We never did frogs.
Yeah, we did frogs and we did fetal pigs later on, but Elliott's pretty young to be dissecting a frog.
I thought so too. It must have been, is he elementary school, middle school?
He was like 9, wasn't he?
Yeah. So yeah, but I love that they used this scene though to show you how connected E.T. and Elliott really got.
Because E.T.'s at home getting drunk.
Yep. He opens up, and he's alone with the dog. He opens up the fridge and he starts eating things, but then he finds the Coors Light, which is his mom drinking.
That's what I'm thinking. And that's, again, more backstory. Because earlier,
or is
Elliott...
it left over from their dad?
Could it be that recent? He's already in Mexico?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Could have been.
Oh, man. That's even worse. That's devastating.
Exactly.
And she just left him? Oh.
Yep.
And E.T. doesn't know what it is. Elliott had the Coke cans earlier, so maybe he thought, I can drink this. So he just starts pounding them.
Yeah, he starts... Does he drink 1 or 2?
At least 2.
I don't remember. But yeah, so... E.T. is walking around like walking into walls.
Yeah.
And Elliott's over there in his
slumping.
Is like
in his chair.
And he starts looking at that girl
who had been looking at him.
Had been looking at him for a while. And so that girl, like looking at IMDb later, that girl is in Baywatch.
Oh, is she? Yeah. I was going to say I saw her as Ellie Mae Clampett.
Oh, really?
She's in the what's it called? Come and listen to a story about a man named Jed, a poor mountaineer, barely kept his family fed. Yeah. And then one day he was shooting up some food, and up came a puddle of some bubbling crude. Yeah. Oil, that is.
Yeah.
Black gold. Texas tea.
The something family, right?
I can't believe I know the whole song. I know, and I still can't remember what it is. I used to watch
that show for real, like back in the day. I used to watch that show all the time.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, she's also a Playboy Playmate.
Wonderful.
She became a Playboy Playmate.
Anyway. Well, she was kissed by that young man and she was inspired to go into the industry. What are you saying?
I don't know. That's her career. Career path went from E.T. to... all that other stuff.
Well, because really her only credit on IMDb is like Pretty Girl.
On this?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, but she's in other stuff. Like I said, she was in Baywatch.
Well, yeah, but
she probably met Pamela Anderson and was like, maybe I should do what she did.
Just as far as like stamping the identity on somebody. We're not even going to give you a name. We're just going to call you Pretty Girl.
Yeah. And the kissing scene is just right out of the whatever E.T. was watching.
Yeah, exactly. He's watching some romantic movie. Well, the door was open because he was letting the frogs out.
Yeah, but all that wind.
He just spun her around and then back in. And then he pulled a kid down so he could stand on him so he could give her a kiss.
Oh, hilarious.
And then he walks off and her little foot twist, at the end. Did you see
that's
that?
Right. Yep. Pretty crazy scenes, like. to put in funny kid stuff.
And I had read the backstory is they had to film that multiple times because the boy that played Elliott was so nervous.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, the kissing part?
Yeah.
Oh.
Did I tell you that I had to do a kissing scene in high school? Did we talk about this?
I think you might have told me this a while back.
Yeah. That was my first kiss ever, was a kissing scene for a play that we had to practice in class with everybody there. Like, all right, guys, we got to practice this. So, let's just do it.
What show?
It was this old, funny, like melodramatic Western, like comedy Western. And I was a sheriff and she was like the pretty damsel or whatever.
In a saloon?
Well, there was a saloon probably. And this was the very end of the show. Like kiss, hold the kiss until the curtains close. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. But I did it. Here I am, better for it. I always told people after that, it's like kind of like kissing your grandmother. There was nothing romantic about it. Like when it's in that scenario, it's just like, all right, my face is touching your face.
Awkward. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I was really glad that I was the guy that got to do it.
That's cool. I'm sure she remembers it fondly too.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I got one of my very best friends in high school out of that. It was her best friend. And then we just became really good friends because of that. She's like, I didn't know who this girl was. So I ended up meeting one of my really good friends because of it.
That's cool.
It worked out.
That's cool. Yeah. And then, so what happens after this scene, after he goes back home?
Well, Gertie is home teaching E.T. to talk.
That's right. Yeah, so he comes home because they call his mom.
Yeah, because he's intoxicated. Inebriated.
Intoxicated? Are you sure you're talking about my Elliott? While she is like smelling.
Well, she's looking at the can because at first she just grabs the empty can and and throws it away. Maybe she thinks it was Michael. Somebody's day drinking.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't put it together. Like, if he was home, how did he drink this? If he was at school, how did he drink this?
No idea.
She doesn't put any effort into, she must be going through a lot.
She is. Her husband's in Mexico. That came up more than once.
Yeah, and maybe that's why the husband left.
What, she was just too aloof?
Yeah, maybe.
She's the problem. E.T. 2. Ugh. We get the husband's backstory.
Exactly. He comes back because his kid's famous now for discovering an extraterrestrial.
Yeah. Hey, Elliott, I brought you some Coors Light.
Let's sit down and talk about stuff.
So now E.T. can kind of talk. He eventually says phone home, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because I forget how that comes up, but he's talking about different things, right?
Yeah. He says phone, or he's trying to get him to say phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever they're, yeah.
And he's like, oh, phone. Okay, phone home. And you get that, classic one line, E.T. phone home.
Yeah. Lucy was asking me, she's like, Dad, why do you always touch fingers when you say that? They never do that in the movie. She waited the whole time. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I've always just reach out and touch.
The only time they touch fingers is when he shows him that, he cuts his finger and heals it. Mm-hmm. That's when they touch fingers.
I think that's probably why it's in my head.
Yeah. You're putting both of them together.
But yeah, so E.T.'s kind of healing powers too. There's a lot of things that aren't explained, and I don't know if they ever make sense by the end of it. He's an alien, weird things happen.
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things where I guess people just assume, an extraterrestrial alien from another planet is going to be probably a advanced intelligence.
Yeah.
Because in order to be able to get to our planet from another planet, is that technology is going to put you in a much higher level of intelligence automatically, because we don't know how to travel light years.
Yeah, but it includes the ability to heal wounds.
I mean, maybe if you get to that level of intelligence, we only use 10% of our brains, right?
I use 12.
I use 9.
I took yours. So then they take him trick or treating. Is that because they decide he needs to create his communication device? Yeah,
exactly.
So they sneak him out looking like Gertie. Mm-hmm. It's a whole thing, which is very funny.
Which is their mom again. Their mom is.
Oh, let me take a picture of you, and it's actually E.T. under the ghost costume.
Oh, Gertie, what happened to the rest of your body? You're a lot shorter because she's taller than E.T.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And he's so square and round and how she didn't. I don't know. She's just oblivious.
I read, though, that it was full body puppetry for E.T. by a 2 foot, 10 inch tall stuntman.
2 foot?
Yeah. So a really small guy. But the scenes in the kitchen were done using a 12-year-old boy who was born without legs and was an expert with walking in his hands. So apparently that's what he was doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You think they do that kind of thing now?
Yeah. I don't know. If a person wants to act.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, everyone should have
as long as you're not exploiting somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. They need to get paid.
Yeah.
No.
You know,
Pay them their worth.
Who knows how it went? Well, I bet Drew Barrymore could tell some stories.
Probably. Yeah. I'm sure there is out there.
Honestly, yeah. But yeah, so you get the whole trick-or-treating thing, and you get the underlying tension with the mom that kind of comes to the surface when the kids don't come home.
Yeah.
And she's home like putting out Halloween candles, because Halloween candles? I was like, what? This, I don't get any of it. And I definitely didn't as a kid. Yeah. And she's backing out of the driveway, and the whole time she's muttering, she's like, Mexico, Mexico.
Oh, yeah, that's when my kids realized that their dad was in Mexico. You know, I actually kind of thought that I thought the dad had died.
It does. At the beginning, you don't really know.
I thought he was just like, dead. Maybe he passed away. Because remember when they're talking about his shirt?
Yeah.
And I thought he had passed away. But then when he says, what does he say? Did he say we'll see him again, or we'll do that again, or whatever?
Yeah.
Something about their dad, blah,
soon,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we'll do that again soon. And I'm like, oh, wait, maybe their dad's not dead.
But
and then
at the beginning, Elliott basically says something really insensitive that his brother is like, why don't you only think about yourself? Like he makes some sort of comment to the mom that makes her cry. And when she turns around and she whatever.
I remember that.
Yeah. And again, because as a kid, I didn't.
It just goes right past
you.
Yeah, I don't think my kids noticed that either.
Older brother's just kind of getting on you. You didn't really think about why. So Elliott's gone all night. She calls the cops. Cop comes. He eventually shows back up, but he is not looking well. Right? After the whole night out with E.T., E.T.'s trying to call his family or whatever.
Yep.
And he can't find E.T., he just comes back.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I also don't know how that happened. It didn't really make sense.
I don't understand how E.T. walked away and ended up in a ditch, under an overpass or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he comes home and mom has a cop. She's like, he's missing, whatever. And then he just shows up. They close the refrigerator door. He's right there. And he tells his brother, you got to find E.T. I left him at the bald spot area.
Yeah, which I guess they know. That's where there are no trees.
And this was really cool to see the big brother get into action. I'm going to help my little brother.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
When it mattered.
Yeah.
I thought that too. I like that because later on, when they're all distraught and they're both really sick, the brother goes into the closet and just kind of has a really emotional, heartfelt moment.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the friends. When they see that stuff is going down at the house and they're all there, and one guy makes some sort of remark and the other guy shuts him up. And you see the kids switch into we actually care about each other mode. Not we're going to kill each other.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that I noticed too about just the whole relationship with these kids is and I think I grew up with a kind of the similar type relationship. I remember wanting to hang out with my brother and his friends, his older friends, and I would always be the one that they teased.
Yeah.
Really quick funny story. I remember one time we were at my brother's friend's house, and they used to have those mats that you put on your carpet that have the little spikes underneath.
Yeah, that your chair can roll on.
Yeah, exactly. But they had those at the entrance of every single one of their rooms, even the bedrooms.
Why?
I don't understand. Maybe just to keep the entryways clean or something. I don't know. But we're watching. I don't know if we're watching a movie or watching TV or playing video games. But I remember them. I remember running to not having shoes on because that's what you do. You take your shoes off in their house. Running to the kitchen to grab drinks or something, some snacks or whatever. And they're like, come on, it's your turn. Come back, hurry up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. I'm rushing back to the room.
No.
And the mat is flipped upside down with the spikes up. I just remember stepping on those and going, it really hurts. And it was pretty funny. But that was the relationship I had with my brother and his friends. Was I was a little kid, I was a tease or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I remember also kind of in this, right? The brother comes in when it's really needed, or
if somebody else would have picked on you,
exactly, it would have been the end. Which happened because I remember one time I was outside and the neighborhood. I want to call him the neighborhood bully or something. I forget what happened here, but I was on my bike. This older kid, was on his bike, and I don't know what happened, but he pushed me off my bike onto the sidewalk, onto the front steps of my apartment building. And I just remember yelling both my brother's names, help me, just yelled. And both of them came out right away. Edgar came and just like picked me up, like what happened. And Jose went right after this kid.
Yeah.
And like chokehold him.
Oh my gosh.
And like, I don't know what he said to him or whatever. And the kid was just like frightened. Never came around after that. But they like, no one picks on our brother.
Right.
We do.
Yeah.
kind
exactly.
of thing, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's that. And that's what I loved about this movie. And I think there's so many things that people have like borrowed from Steven Spielberg. Because this isn't the first time Steven Spielberg has used children in movies like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we have Stranger Things that, you know, that when all the friends are hanging out in front of the house, right? When all of the people come and we kind of, I mean, we can go back to this, but they're just watching what's happening to their friend's house.
Right.
And you see the kids on their bikes and you see that each individual character, the dude with the hat and he's got those weird headphones.
Yeah.
I'm like, that looks like that kid from Stranger Things. It's like they modeled this after this time. It's really
intentionally.
Intentionally. But so yeah, that whole relationship was really cool to see how, you know, at the end of the day, they're behind this kid because he's, you know, friend and family, you know?
Yep.
That was really cool.
Yeah. They're in his house late at night smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever they were doing. Yeah. Did you catch though when Michael is like trying to pull his mom upstairs to see because E.T. comes home sick.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mom, come with me. Mary, just come with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know why he says that.
He said her name, but earlier Drew Barrymore too. She's like, when she's walking with the little cart or whatever, and she's like, oh, I'm going to play in Elliott's room. And she's like, oh, don't let him torture you. And she says, okay, I won't, Mary. I'm like, why are they? I don't know why that's a thing in this movie.
I don't know why they're treating her like that.
Maybe that's an Easter egg from Steven Spielberg. Like maybe that was something in his history.
Yeah, maybe something in his family. He made a movie based off of his life, which was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I never saw it. I do remember that.
Yeah, and so she freaks out. She sees E.T. and Elliott both sick.
Yeah.
You know, does Michael say something like they're linked together somehow?
He does say something like that.
You know, and he's super stark white. It's really crazy how they made that puppet look that way. I wonder if they had a second puppet. Even
when Michael went to go collect him from the water side and he was sort of laying there face down or whatever, I'm like, it looked like a fake puppet, but like you're just going to pick this thing up. It looked really gross. Over the course of this whole movie, I'm like, well, yeah, E.T. as a character is endearing, but he's not nice to look at.
No,
ever.
Exactly, yeah. I wonder if they obviously did that on purpose. The thing is, was that image of E.T. in the water on the rocks in the water like that, that was like one of those things that was burned in my memory as a kid too.
Oh yeah? Yeah, it seems like
so when it came up, I was like watching my kids to see what their reaction was, you know, and they were just like stunned a little bit. Like, oh no.
Is he dead?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which he looked dead, but he was moving around when he was in the bathroom.
And that's where they lose me in this movie, that I don't really get the logic of any of that. And again, you kind of wave it off because, like you said, extraterrestrial, who knows what's going on. I don't know how
I think he was homesick. I think he was linked to his people.
That's what I told my kids at the end too. That was my best guess, is that, yeah, he was too far away from his people, so he was getting sick, which is why when you get near the end, you know, he kind of comes back to life, but apparently doesn't need oxygen for that, or I don't even know, you know, because he's trapped in that thing.
Yeah, so once they find him, the mom freaks out. She's like, we're leaving, let's get out of here. Then all of a sudden,
the home invasion,
the people with space suits.
Yes. And I guess as an adult looking back, like, I don't know if it's because they didn't know what they were going to encounter. They didn't want to breathe the same air. It could be contaminated. Exactly. What is this thing?
And that's why they were still trapped in their house. So they didn't let them leave.
Yeah. And it's obviously intentionally scary. Like they're coming through the window, you know.
The one guy puts his arms up like he's a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that I do remember as a kid, and I remember being confused. And as an adult, I guess I'm kind of confused, but I also kind of get it. But I get it as a movie too. Like, oh, okay, this is kind of played up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they take over the whole house, cover it all in plastic. They get actual real medical professionals playing those roles because they needed somebody to say the words and actually feel like they knew what they were saying.
Yeah.
And but you get they're basically, now you finally for the first time start to see the adults' heads. Really? All of them?
You
and
see
faces.
You see keys for the first time. Yep.
Yeah, when he starts identifying and you realize, oh, these people are not necessarily a threat. The Keys guy is explaining, oh, I've been waiting for this my entire life. I just wanted to see an alien from another planet. And so then you kind of get that connection point there. And the doctors, when they think E.T. is dead, start taking off their masks.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. Well, I like how that one guy comes in and he's like, he's got DNA. They have DNA, and they start treating him a little bit different. They start treating him kind of the same way you would treat us. Because I'm watching all this, and it goes, how do they know any of this stuff is going to work on him?
Right.
You know, the same things that you would do on us, like the shots, the IV, all that kind of stuff. Like what?
Even they're trying to resuscitate him, and the air in his like nose. I'm like, how is this working?
How does that work? Yeah, but so you have to kind of suspend disbelief a little bit there. But that little thing, if like he's got DNA like us, if he has DNA, he somewhat works on some level the same way we do. Heart, breathing, blood flow, that kind of thing. You know, because they're tracking his brain waves along with Elliott, and they are connected. They're like confirming, somehow they're connected. That's why they're both. And then when the connection kind of goes away is when, you know, like I guess ET's like letting go.
Yeah.
So that Elliott can survive. He knows he's going to die.
Which I guess now that you're saying it, and we've been talking about it, maybe this was on the surface all the time and I didn't really think about it, but this is maybe how E.T. and his whole population are connected to each other in the same way that E.T. is now connected to Elliott.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what it is. Is it because he healed him? Or somehow he's now part of that. But then again, somehow E.T. is able to let go of him. And I don't get how that happened either, because it seemed like it was intentional.
Yeah, it does. It did seem like it was intentional. Huh.
So anyway, Elliott like starts to get better. They think E.T.'s dead. They go to box him up, and then Elliott sees that he's lighting up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, he sees the flower again.
Yeah,
come back to life. The what kind of flowers are those? Those they look like little miniature sunflowers. But
I don't know what they are.
But yeah, he notices they're like healthy and blooming, and he's like, wait, what? And he looks back because he misses the light.
Right, that's
the first time. Then he sees it and he opens it up. He's like, Elliott, Elliott.
He's talking a lot at this point.
He's excited because I think he knows he's coming back to life because
his family,
his people heard him. His family heard him and are coming back to the earth to pick him up.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much.
I don't know what the proximity is necessary for that to happen. You know, imagine that spaceship travels pretty fast and they still don't land for a little while. They got to be pretty far away, and that's still working.
Yeah, man. Crazy, right? Yeah. So anyway, this is where that scene happens where he's alive. He tells his brother, "Yo, we got to get him to his people. They're coming." You know, because he says, "Home, are your people coming?" And he's like, "Yes." I think that's where yes comes from.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds just like that. I like it when they're trying to escape and he's like, I've never driven forward before. Yeah. So yeah, his brother basically commandeers a van.
Tells the friends that are hanging out outside.
Yeah.
Meet us at the top of the bottom of the top of the hill, whatever.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Oh, so good.
They're driving through this whole, I remember living near a construction site like this with houses being built, so this felt very familiar, and they're all on their bikes once they get out, because they go in the van with E.T. in the back, they escape, and then they put him in the little basket of the bike, and then they just go for it. And
that was really cool. Yeah, and they're like, being chased by adults again. Adults are terrible. And my kids kept asking, like, what do they want with E.T.? Why do they keep he's alive. They should just let him go. Because they don't realize that they didn't know they're going to find E.T. in that shape.
Right.
They're going to go and study him. Like Elliott says that you're just going to chop him up into pieces or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just going to do all this stuff.
Well, this is the connection, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this is where it connects back to the frogs, and this made way more sense to me. Because I was like, why is this frog scene even in here?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I thought it was just only to show how connected they are, but yeah, you're right.
That too, but then you also get the understanding of like, oh, Elliott is sympathizing with these frogs in the same way now that he has a heart for this other creature that they're treating as like the guy was treating the frog. Well, we're just going to drop the chloroform in here and we're going to study him and dissect him.
Crazy. So he knew. So that's what. So my kids were like, why? Since he's alive, why don't they just leave him alone? It's like, no, they want to study him. Mm-hmm. They might cut him open or do all this stuff, not let him go home, which he wants to go home. And so they're like, oh, okay. They finally realize this is why we have to get him away from the adults. Mm-hmm. And then you get the chase scene, and then the most iconic moment.
The car, the bikes lift off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Finally, the adults are like, we got him. Let's take the shotguns out.
Yeah.
With kids. I didn't remember that before, but these dudes are busted out shotguns on kids on bikes.
I guess I didn't really think about it too much. I've seen it too many times.
That's wild. You're just going to buckshot these kids. Bam.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
The funny thing is,
terrible.
As a kid watching it, didn't think anything of it. It feels so scary and whatever. But I mean, as an adult, you go, somebody thought about let's pull out a gun. That's insane.
Yeah. Because the guys had pistols in their hands.
Yeah.
Which they never used. But then the one dude, two of them bust out shotguns. Legit.
I read that in they did a re-release version of it. And at that time, Steven Spielberg kind of regretted the pistols. And so they edited in radios. But then after the fact, he's like, you know what? No, we just go back to the original. So you can't really find that version anymore.
So we kind of skipped a couple things, right? Because we also said that, we didn't say that E.T. in that moment when they're like looking at the globe and things like that.
Yeah.
He makes whatever those balls are, the play ball, whatever they have.
There's like Play-Doh.
Play-Doh. He makes those rise into the air and he makes them look like they're going around like the solar system.
He's got some sort of telekinetic ability.
Yeah, and he also does that again with Elliott when they go in Halloween on the bike to build the little satellite dish, whatever.
Yeah.
That he can make them float, that he can make them fly. So then that iconic scene where all of the kids are with him and he closes his eyes because there's that cop barricade with shotguns. He makes them elevate and then you get the iconic song, the iconic movie theme. And this really touched me.
Yeah.
I was watching it and it moved me. This is what movies should do. You know what I mean? It really made me remember. It really made me remember and enjoy being a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is such a awesome thing to make somebody feel, even an adult.
Yeah.
Like you wanna pretend. Like I see my kids now, like Ezra will pretend to be something or whatever. And it's cheesy, it's old. The way they filmed it, because they're obviously not flying and they have to act like they're in the air.
Oh my gosh,
kids' faces, they're like, whoa. But it was such the perfect John Williams theme, the perfect, Steven Spielberg did such a great job of just bringing you into this like fantasy, I don't know, emotional, just awe-inspiring, I want to be a kid again type of feeling.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. And it's hard to say. I don't know if my kids felt exactly that because they are kids, but I felt that too. Like I could remember being a kid. I can remember going out on my bike with my friends,
Yeah.
It did feel very real.
Like if this really happened to us, it would be such an awesome, thing.
The only thing that didn't feel real was every time you actually saw E.T. and you're like, okay, the little weird, not eyebrows, but the way that his head moved. And you're like, okay, they were limited by whatever technology that they had at the time,
Which is why they probably covered him up with a blanket.
Exactly. And they made him very endearing, when he would move. So I think kind of like Jurassic Park, like you said, with limit the amount you actually see these things. And when you do, get the bang for your buck.
Exactly.
And you kind of get that with E.T. But sometimes it's like, okay. The hand movements, that was great because that felt, like a real hand, but otherwise.
Yeah, and that was a real person's hand, right? Somebody's deformed.
Yeah. You really liked Reese's Pieces, which are pronounced, I just want to go on record as Reese's Pieces, everybody. If you don't come at me with one of these Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces.
No, I won't entertain it.
It's Reese's.
Yes. I have a documentary I will send you if you have any questions. It also includes information about nougat. So, I think really like the way that it resolved was great too, because you get the Keys guy there with the mom at the end, seeing all this happen. You get the awe in his eyes, but he's also now kind of part of allowing them to just, what are you going to do to stop them? But to go, and you get this really touching goodbye scene where E.T. says kind of his goodbyes to everyone and gives like Elliott an extended hug. And as a kid, or as an adult, you're like, oh, I want to hug E.T.
Yeah. And he tells Michael, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Like he says the words, thank you.
Yeah. The older brother. He says,
I did. I wrote that down. Yeah, because that's after he tells Birdie, "Be good,
be good." Yeah,
be good.
Yeah. And I was like, there's like a really significance there with thank you to the older brother, because he has more ability to do things than his little brother can do, because he was the one that he wasn't emotionally tied to ET. So he could have been a mean brother, not cared.
Yeah.
And he did have the ability to go find ET and bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he kind of saved his life in a way.
Yeah. And and
his brother's life.
You mostly get the relationship with ET and Elliott. And I think you're right. Like there is more going on that you're just not seeing. It doesn't fit in the movie or whatever. But yeah, I think there was more built in with like obviously Gertie taught him how to speak. There's like a whole day that goes on, and some of the other friend stuff. I feel like there must have been a cut scene where you get more from these friends because you don't really get much from them either.
No.
So I think it's trimmed down a bit. But yeah, and then at the end also, I don't remember this from childhood when E.T. tells him come, like he wants him to come with him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He goes like, come, and Elliott's like, stay. Like I got to stay, but I didn't get that E.T. wanted him to come. So that connection is both ways. Where they both really like tied to each other.
Which I wouldn't have been angry if he went with him.
What? You can't resolve the movie that way. But then
I actually thought, man, it would have been really cool to write it in where Gertie gets to go with him.
Oh no,
instead.
You did not, you liar. But then when E.T. says ouch, you know, when he's like heartbroken, he's like ouch.
Yeah. The really good way of portraying emotion, I guess, in that way. I mean, we all have that. We've all been involved in our lifetimes where we had to say goodbye to somebody. You know, whether it's, you know, oh, they're going away on vacation, we're not going to see them, or they're moving away to a different, you know, whatever. I think that we all have that kind of thing. It's a sentimental thing.
Is this too far of a reach that to say saying goodbye to E.T. is kind of like a proxy of the goodbye they never got with their dad?
Oh, man. Yeah, I think I was about to say that.
Yeah?
It's like saying goodbye to their dad. Maybe their dad's just never going to come back.
Because then you got E.T. there that's like, be good, you know? Like, oh, these are like the dad things.
Yeah.
Don't forget to refrigerate my Coors Light.
I'll be back for it.
He'll be back. According to the novelization of the movie, you know how old E.T. is?
200,000 years old.
Over 10 million years old, Josue.
Oh my gosh.
That kind of puts a different spin on it though, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how their race evolves or whatever, but it's a little bit weird. It's like Yoda.
It's kind of like Yoda. Remember when he sees Yoda?
Yeah.
Kind of almost like recognizes him.
Did you hear the Yoda theme?
Oh, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So John Williams obviously does both of those, and so the Yoda theme plays right when you see him.
Crazy.
And of course, then E.T. is included in Star Wars after the fact in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it's either the first or second one. No,
they're in like the Senate.
It might be the second
and
movie.
It's a couple creatures.
No.
I think it's one. I think it's episode 1.
It's when they're cheering, isn't it? I thought it was, this is how
democracy ends, dies. No, that would be a really terrible part to add in the E.T. reference, wouldn't it?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. It's that scene where you see a bunch of aliens in the Senate, right? And you see the pod with the two, E.T. creatures.
I read that this script was mostly written on location when they were filming Raiders of the Lost Ark. At the time, while this was being written, they were actually filming Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
and so he
cool.
did it during breaks. And it said that Steven Spielberg dictated the story to the screenwriter because she was there with her then boyfriend and future husband, Harrison Ford.
Wow.
Her name is Melissa Matheson.
Wow. That's cool.
It's crazy to think all this stuff was going on simultaneously because it's such a big movie.
Yeah.
And then another huge thing going on. And then talk about Star Wars, like all these giant productions and these people knowing each other. And just the fact that it was all happening simultaneously is wild to me.
Yeah.
And then this movie.
But you never know in the meantime when you're making
like
it.
While it's happening.
While it's happening. It's just, hey, we got to work. We got to produce some things because we all need to work and make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the movie itself it had like the longest theatrical run ever. It was over a year.
Oh, really? It was in the theaters for a year?
In the theaters. And this was a movie that he didn't initially want to release on video. He wanted to go like the Disney route and just not even and only do special like releases of it. And then, but apparently then it grew to be like the most pirated movie that year or something.
That's
so then they eventually released it.
Yeah. There was so much to do with this movie. As far as the things that came out, like the toys, the video games. I was watching a documentary on like the games that made us or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Or the movies that made us. I don't know. I forget what it was. But they talked about how, I don't know if it was Atari or Nintendo, or the original Nintendo. There was a game that was very basic, like adventure movie, a game, kind of like Raiders or whatever. And they came out with an E.T. game that was just the same prior game.
Oh, with E.T. in it?
With E.T. as the graphic animated, but everything else about it was the same. So essentially, people bought the same game all over again.
Just
this big
just to
thing,
be E.T.
just so it could be E.T. And it made no sense as a game because it didn't follow anything like in the movie. And now to this day, if you eBay this game, there's thousands and thousands of this. It's cheap. You know, it's not like a nostalgia thing where people pay a bunch of money for a game. This game is still cheap because they made so many of it and people hated it. Yeah.
Yeah, people hate it.
So crazy.
But they didn't hate the movie. It broke box office records.
Yep.
And it was like the highest grossing film of all time until the record was broken by Jurassic Park, like 10 years later. So way to go, Spielberg.
I know.
And then he was beat out by James Cameron, right? Titanic?
I think so.
Who then beat himself with Avatar.
Wild. But I mean, I think Steven Spielberg's line of work, just his body of work, I guess, the things that he's done. I mean, this guy is influential in the to say the least.
Yeah.
What a career.
I know.
What a storyteller, for real, honestly.
And then for us to be the consumers of this, you know, like I wasn't old enough to get the technical detail of what he was doing. I was just in the world, like experiencing these things. I just feel really fortunate to have lived that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's really cool.
Like
really
now I show my kids and they can appreciate it too. But I feel like, man, to be there in the moment and to be in the culture and experience this was really something else.
Yeah.
So
it's really awesome.
I don't remember picking apart E.T. because the special effects didn't look so good then. But at the end, like my kids, by the way, we can get into how we felt about this. You know, all left with really positive, besides Clark, who was in the other room, reviews of the movie. You know, we were like picking apart, like, oh, well, was there anything that you didn't like? And that was literally like, well, I guess like some of the special effects, but that was like, if I have to look for something, and they didn't really care that much because the rest of the movie made up for it.
Yeah. If there's something that I didn't like, the thing that I didn't like was just how they portrayed the mom a little bit. There was a time, that moment where she's putting out the candles. They're like, why is she sad? I'm like, I told the kids, well, she's just a little sad. She's a little upset at herself because she thinks she's not doing great as a mom.
Sure.
And all my kids are like, oh,
yeah,
you know, because in reality, that's probably what is happening. She probably thinks, dang it, I'm just doing so terribly. My kids don't listen to me. All this other stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, my husband left me, whatever. Right. So the other parts where she's just like oblivious, I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, comedically, like E.T.'s walking by you, you don't see him. He's like, he's right there, Mom. Yeah. Like whatever.
My kids loved when he got hit with the refrigerator door.
Yeah. And I think you killed him.
yeah.
So like the oblivious part is like, how is somebody really that oblivious? I don't think so. This is the only part
I would hope not, but
exactly.
Who knows?
But yeah, so that was the only downside for me, is just like the mom could have been a little smarter, but for the sake of the movie, it made sense.
It worked for the movie.
It worked for the movie, yeah. And the production value is still great with what they were working with.
Oh my gosh.
Like you said, where to put the camera and how to shoot it, the entire first half or more of the movie, to kind of shoot it in that sense of like the kid's perspective. Like, oh dude, like that's super smart, you know?
So smart.
It just drives and moves the movie to play off the emotional beats at the end.
I read that when Gertie, Drew Barrymore's character, looks down at E.T. and she says, I don't like his feet. You know that line? It was ad-libbed by Drew Barrymore, and it was actually her referring to like all the grouping of wires coming out of the puppet.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that funny?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
The other thing I felt like was kind of weird was the backgrounds. You know, when they're in the shed and they're looking for E.T. in the shed and you see the moon, have crescent moon in the background. I was like, I don't think that's right. It looked like a set.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't think about it.
I'm like, I don't know if that would be that way in real life.
And this might be another thing where you're at a disadvantage looking at it in a higher definition TV.
Yeah, true. True that.
Stuff that you wouldn't have seen earlier.
Yeah.
Even like the definite fake flying stuff, like you said, that stuff becomes really obvious when you're looking now. You're like, that is not, like that face is not. Good luck. Even on the newer Marvel stuff, if something's earlier Avengers and you look at it now, you go, okay.
Exactly. You know? It's crazy. But I think the storytelling and the way it's done really lets you kind of let that go because it's so well written, so well paced. I think the pacing is great.
Oh yeah.
There's not a lot of boring downtime.
No. I almost felt like, I want more, but I don't think it would have worked for like you said, the pacing.
Exactly. So I really enjoyed the production value. I really enjoyed the storytelling. I really enjoyed the way it made me like want to be a kid again.
Yeah.
In that sense.
And it did have something that also felt real to me, which again feels more like this 80s stuff when we were back to Goonies or whatever, where like everything felt really tactile and visceral.
Yeah.
And like you said, now you have the emotional connection to something about adding those little quirks about characters, the distraught mom even, or stuff that I didn't pick up on as a kid, or the kids, having the party and sending them out for pizza and getting up, like those little moments of humanity, I feel like do a lot to tie you in and go, oh, this, like I really connect, and you might not even know why as a kid, but it just feels real.
Exactly.
So yeah, all my kids when we were done, I was like, well, you guys, would you recommend this to somebody else? And the whole room was like, yeah.
Yeah, I would totally recommend it too.
Yeah.
This holds up to me for sure. I mean, I don't think anybody would argue that it doesn't.
It's hard because, in the grand scheme of things, when you start looking at all the things that we could be watching, and I think like, oh, would I go back and watch this? I definitely would say, certainly, if somebody hasn't seen E.T. or if wants to rewatch it, I think it was great on the rewatch. But I remember as a kid, maybe watching it a few times, where as an adult, I would go like, okay, I don't need to watch it a bunch. Like I can admire it, but I'm not going to be watching it annually or anything.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't have time. Got to watch Garfield.
This definitely has a nostalgia factor to it, but I think it holds up, and it's worth saying, if you haven't seen this movie, do yourself a favor and watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if your kids haven't seen it, if you have kids, man, introduce them to this as long as they're not terrified.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. All right. Well, I have a little bit of the loop that we could close.
It's like a snake eating its own tail.
It really is. So if you recall, a couple episodes ago, we were talking about the Addams family.
Yes.
Episode 16. When I say Addams, you say family. By the way, I gave you like 6 title options or whatever, right? That I was like, hey, what do you think about this? I like spent however long thinking about it. And I texted the same thing to my wife. I'm like, hey, what do you think about? And she's like, how about? And she just threw this title out there. And it was none of the things that I suggested. But I'm like, oh yeah, this is the best one. I need somebody else to help make titles. We were talking about the cast reunion, and I just wanted to say that it happened on October 5th at Comic-Con.
Oh, cool.
And I was going to show you pictures of it, and I'm going to pull them up on the screen here just so you can see it.
Wow.
Because the cast, oh man, she's kind of warped and really large looking.
Yeah.
Angelica Houston is obviously older, but they have Christopher Lloyd is here.
Christopher Lloyd looks great still.
Yeah. Christina Ricci. Pugsley, whose name I can't remember, but he almost looks the same as an adult. And Lurch is
still alive.
He's still alive, and because they made him look so old and ancient in the movie, kind of just looks the same.
Kind of does. He like grew into his face.
And his
makeup.
And we talked about this, and I posed you this question of like, oh, what if they came back but they didn't have the same cast? And you were like, oh, I think they did. Yeah. I looked up the trailer, and I will link that below for the Addams Family reunion movie.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
It is don't watch it.
It was made by Saban.
Saban?
Yeah. Power
Rangers people?
Yep.
Wow.
Saban and WB Family Entertainment. It looks truly awful.
Is it just Japanese with English overdub?
No, but like you said, it's what's his name in it? Cardinal Richelieu, Jeffrey Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it. Lurch came back. He's the only character that's the same, in both of them. And also Daryl Hannah. Remember Daryl Hannah from Splash, wasn't she? And I can't remember what else. She's Morticia. And also Seinfeld's Estelle Harris.
Oh, really?
She's the grandma.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So you get little clips of her. They really promote her in the thing. And there was a new Addams Family TV series that had the same Wednesday from that reunion movie that went on from 98 to 99. There were 65 episodes of it.
That's wild.
I can't believe that exists.
Yeah, I can't believe it does either. And I never watched it, which is probably a testament to how good it was, probably.
No.
Or how bad it was, actually.
Yeah, exactly so. But I would definitely say watch the Addams Family.
Yeah, for sure.
The movie was great, but don't waste your time with that stuff.
Even the Netflix Wednesday was better.
Oh my gosh.
Better.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know what wasn't better? I took Ephraim to a movie on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of aliens, we went and saw Venom 3.
Oh, okay. I thought you watched Aliens Romulus.
No.
I watched that with Eva the other day.
What?
Yep.
The new one?
Mm-hmm.
With Eva?
Yep. Now she wants to watch the other ones.
No way.
Not even kidding.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
You have a different breed of genetics in your family because I don't see that going over well. You know, Ephraim would do it, but none of my other kids.
None of the other kids wanted to watch it.
Justice would want to. But
I wanted to watch it
him.
just because I really do. I like the old Alien movies.
I haven't seen
Those
any
are great
of them.
too. Oh, you should watch them.
Should I? So yeah, we went. He wanted to see Venom, and one thing I love more than anything, not necessarily Venom, is just going to a movie with Ephraim.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So we'll go do that. Not like even if it's not my favorite, if it feels like a movie we could watch together, totally. So we went to the Dolby Atmos, where you and I, originally saw every other movie on opening night. The Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
It wasn't even an Atmos back then. All that stuff.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was explaining that to him. I was like, they had to restart the movie because it was a new kind of
3
technology
times.
and the projector was messed up and that whole thing. Remember that? But Venom, there were maybe 15 of us in the theater, 10 in that giant theater for Venom 3 on Friday.
Why?
We left school like right away, so it was an early showing.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, did nobody like the movie?
No, it was matinee, but I don't think it's going to do well.
Oh, really?
I think they've been tanking in quality from the first one, and he left going like, yeah, that wasn't as good as even the other ones.
That's terrible.
It was pretty disappointing.
Are they not going to do another one, you think?
No, this one's called The Last Dance.
Yeah, but is it a really good ending, or is it like leave it open ended for like a Tom Holland?
I wouldn't call it a good anything. I would call it an ending. It ends.
Gosh. Are they all dead though?
They give a bit of finality to it.
If they're not all dead at the end, then they're probably going to bring them back for something.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but you know how they are. They could bring anybody back, and that's what I said.
Exactly.
Even if somebody dies, we'll bring him back.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, we already know that Venom exists in another multiverse already.
Well, he came back now.
Because no, I know, but remember the little piece was still on the bar?
Yeah.
So they could still keep it open.
Symbiote.
The symbiote.
I don't know. I'm bored even talking about it. It was just like, they just really, whatever.
Oh.
Well, you know what, everybody? Let us know what you think.
Yes, please.
I imagine most of our audience has seen E.T. Based on the demographics I'm seeing on Spotify. But I would say, give us a shout and let us know what you think in the comments below. And we'll throw a poll in the Spotify. If you scroll down, you can say, hey, I think this holds up. I want to know if anybody thinks it's pure nostalgia. Whoever you are that voted down The Godfather, how do you feel about E.T.?
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me know. And, if you feel brave enough to leave your name, and we'll give you a mention.
Yeah, weirdo.
I hated E.T. No, I won't. I'm not doing any trolls. But you can reach us with comments on Spotify, or you can email us at halloweencandy@wdyt.show. That's what do you think?
That's awesome.
Honestly, insert your favorite candy. Reese's, not Reese's.
Yeah, Reese's.
No apostrophe though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't already know what's happening next week,
okay,
I want to kind of tease the next two, because next week's episode is not going to be in the artwork. Sorry, everybody. It's because it's another test kitchen. Our stomachs are already growling, so I'm really excited about this. We already have a slate of amazing foods compiled from previous movies, episodes that we've discussed.
Yeah. There may or may not be some spaghetti sauce.
Yep.
There's going to be some spaghetti
sauce you can't refuse, and some other things. So I'm excited about that one.
It's crazy. It's like watching a movie in 3D. But with food, it just comes into your plate and you're like, oh, now I can partake in the movie's food.
Honestly, if I was smarter about it, when we sat down to watch E.T., I would have had a bag of Reese's Pieces right there with me.
I should have done that too.
next week.
Yes.
And then after that, so this is what hopefully I will tease in the artwork. Like I said, it hasn't happened yet. So, but if you zoom in, you can see that we are doing our very first musical episode.
Yes.
And I don't even know if we should say what it is, but until next week, because we have the test kitchen, so maybe we can promo it then.
Yeah.
But if you look at the artwork, you'll be able to tell hopefully what it is.
Yeah.
And
it's front page news.
I'll give a little hint. Speaking of this, I've seen so many musicals, more than I can count.
Yeah.
This is one I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But lots of people have.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You just got to seize the day.
I see. I don't even get these references.
I know he does. It's great.
The first one I did. I wanted to roll a clip of when you were teasing about Chucky at the end of the Addams Family.
Yeah.
Because you were totally teasing the name of the movie that I didn't know. So I listened back to it. I'm like, oh, well, now I know the movie's called Child's Play. When you said Child's Play, I thought you were just saying it like you were hinting at Chucky. I had no idea that was the title of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, which worked out really well.
Maybe we can work with our production team and insert that little clip right here. Somehow, if you paused, you know already that this episode is teasing something, Josue, and I'm afraid.
Yes.
What is it?
Be very afraid. It's just Child's Play.
Stop. It's Halloween.
It's Halloween.
We're leaning into something spooky, which is not my preference. I just want to throw it out there.
That should have kind of clued you in.
Yeah.
It's in the title, Child's Play.
Yeah. Of what the movie is?
Yeah.
Well, I know what it is, but do they know what it is?
They should.
Oh.
I mean, it's a throwback, a throwback horror movie. And if you know what Child's Play, the only thing I could be talking about is our good old buddy, Chucky.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll work or not. You are the production team.
Yeah.
We are the production team. So
yes, we are.
We'll have to see if we can work that out. But if so, you can hear how dumbfounded I was.
Yeah. So good.
Oh, man. Well, until then, Josue, I think people should take 5 seconds right now and give us 5 stars.
Yep. Give us all the stars, thumbs up, reviews, share. Like.
Share. Pick your favorite episode on your favorite platform and share that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have been putting our little quiz segments on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see us live and in person, quizzing it up, just go to YouTube at wdyt.show. Yeah, or you can always email any of your suggestions to us. We would love to hear them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, in the meantime, we'll be watching. I don't even know what this week. I have to figure out something new to watch because we'll be cooking food.
Oh, that's funny.
We'll just free form watching. Watch whatever you want, everybody.
That's awesome. Watch whatever you want.
All right, thanks everybody. Thanks, Josue.
Good times. This was awesome.
It was really great.
Thanks, Jeff.
We'll talk to you next time on What Do You Think of This?
All right, peace out, everyone.